close your eyes. As the music plays, just relax, rest in the presence, and hold space.
Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Jai Ganesha Gananatha Dayaniti Sakala Vignya Karadhura Hamare. Jai Ganesha Gananatha Dayaniti Sakala Vignya Karadhura Hamare. Ganapataye Namo Namaha. 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 Omega Dantaya Vidmahi Vajrajundaya Dhimahi Tanno Danti Prachodayat. Ganapataye Namo Namaha. 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 Jai Ganesha Gananatha Dayaniti Sakala Vignya Karadhura Hamare. Jai Ganesha Gananatha Dayaniti Sakala Vignya Karadhura Hamare. Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Jai Ganesha Gananatha Dayaniti Sakala Vignakara Dura Hamari. Jai Ganesha Gananatha Dayaniti Sakala Vignakara Dura Hamari. Namo Namaha Kanganapataye Namo Namaha Kanganapataye Namo Namaha Kanganapataye Namo
Namaste.
Namaste.
Welcome to our weekly online satsang. Satsang being a Sanskrit word that means community of truth. Anytime there are a group of people, that's two or more, who are pursuing the truth on the path of awakening, the path of realization, the flowering of the heart, you've got a satsang. And it doesn't have to be formal or anything like that. The Flowering Heart Satsang draws people together that are from all over the world, who we might have different teachers, different teachings, different spiritual traditions and backgrounds, but what we share is the process of awakening and the flowering of our hearts. And as that begins to happen in a person's life, we need to connect with others who are awakening. We strengthen each other exponentially when we come together and we share our presence, our energy, our insights, our struggles, our questions, all of that. So find and be a part of a spiritual community wherever you may be. You'd find probably that you have more in common with other people who are awakening, even though they belong to a different spiritual tradition, than people from your own tradition that haven't really begun to awaken yet. What do I mean awaken? Well, most of humanity is caught in a delusion, a dream it's often referred to. The illusion that people are trapped in is of separate individual existence, the ego, the separate self. It gives us the sense that we began at a certain point in time, we became this physical creature with a body and a mind, and that we're going to end at a certain point, which is terrifying and unknown, when that's not the truth at all. We are an expression, you and I, we are all expressions of one universal consciousness, one supreme being that is expressing itself through the entire universe and sharing its consciousness with us, through us. And so the illusion of separate existence creates fear and produces this ego thing that exists to protect us from other people because we're afraid. As long as we're living in the separate self, we're afraid that other people will abuse us, take advantage of us, hurt us, and so we have this strategy for self-protection. That's what the ego is. And we build a global civilization of competition and conflict and war, violence. And that needs to stop. The planet can't sustain that kind of insanity any longer at the hands of one species. And so we need to awaken beyond the veil, the illusion of separate existence, and we discover we are one with the all that is. We are one with the divine source. We're one with each other. The same one that is looking at me through your eyes is looking at you through my eyes. We're one and the same being when we go deep enough inside and we awaken. And then a new global civilization will begin to emerge of cooperation, harmony, and peace instead of competition, conflict, and violence. It's just that simple. No philosophy will do it. No political change is going to do it. No religion's going to do it. Nothing like that. Mankind has been trying to change the world and change itself for all of known history. And what needs to happen is spiritual awakening in the heart. And it's happening. So many people are awakening now on planet Earth. And that's really good news because awakening is very contagious. And it's not a dis-ease, it's ease. It's an ease that is totally contagious and it spreads. And that's why historically, through the countless millennia, when spiritual teachers arose who had so much light to impart to humanity that it was going to change us, that we often rejected them, or like Christ, Buddha, Gandhi, even people like Martin Luther King Jr., people that have a catalytic effect that's going to transform human consciousness, humanity has tended to take them out. Good news is we're living in a time where there's so many of us who are awakened. And there's so many of us who are awakening, it just can't be stopped. And we have a lot of help. We've learned that we cannot awaken ourselves. There's no like technique. Some of us may still be shopping around for that perfect spiritual practice that will bring enlightenment to us. Thing is, you are already enlightened. The true you, not who you may think you are, the mind, the human story, that conscious spirit that is at the heart of your existence is totally divine and totally enlightened. And so what we need to do is find our true self, discover our true essential nature, and shed the veils that are blinding us in this collective illusion that most of humanity sadly is still caught in, but more and more are escaping through the process of awakening. The divine is helping. As I said, we've learned we can't do it for ourselves. We need grace. Awakening is a miracle, and it's a gift of grace. It is often given to those who seek it and are working on themselves, but it isn't the working on ourselves that brings about the shift. It's a gift from Source. And the divine is helping all around these days. There are many, many direct transmissions of awakened consciousness and energy taking place all over the planet. What we share here is called the Flowering Heart Blessing. Hridaya, Vikasa, Diksha, if you want to hear it in Sanskrit, but it just means Flowering Heart Blessing. And it comes directly from Source. When the divine gave it to me and Suzanne and said, start sharing this blessing with people, said, tell them it doesn't come through an avatar or a master or through a spiritual hierarchy or anything like that, any religion or spiritual tradition. It comes directly from me, the divine Source. And I give it as a gift of grace. So don't charge anybody for it, just give it away. And if they like it and they want to be used to transmit this blessing, tell them that the minute you've received the Flowering Heart Blessing, you are initiated to pass it on. And so you're initiated right now. If you came here tonight, or whenever you're watching the recording of this satsang, and you're experiencing the presence and the energy that's flowing through every second of this webcast, all you need to do is invite the divine to let you be a vessel of grace. And whoever you hold in your heart and take an intention for in prayer or in meditation, invite the divine to pour through your intentions the Flowering Heart Blessing to that person or group of people. If they're in front of you physically, you need to tell them what it is. And with their informed consent, you can gently lay your hands on the top of their head, and you don't do anything. You just invite the divine to work through you and get out of the way. And the divine does it all, and people change. People are transformed. The Flowering Heart Blessing goes right to the heart of the matter to awaken that experience, that ongoing sense of connection in place of separation. It awakens the inner connection to the divine Source. The divine Source lives in you in its totality. That's a mystery. Mind can't get it, but it dwells in you in all of its fullness. The entire universe is within you. The outer world is just a reflection of the inner world, of what's inside of you. So we can keep looking out there in the mirrors and go to people that are very shiny gurus and masters, and they can help us to a degree, to a great degree, because their presence is catalytic, and they are a mirror reflecting to us our true self. Eventually, we need to look within into the center of our being and go deep, deep, deep inside and come to that place that is pure love and pure light. And we discover our true origins, our true essence. And lo and behold, we're already awakened. the mind is going like, awaken me, but it isn't the mind that gets awakened. It isn't the body that gets awakened or the mind. The ego can't be helped, but, well, it can be, but that's a whole other story. But what needs to happen is that awakening of that experience of oneness with Source. The Flowering Heart Blessing immediately begins to awaken that, which is why I think it's called the Flowering Heart Blessing. Because rather than something raining from above that promises to change you and the world, this is something within you that begins to blossom and flower. It's kind of the same vision that Soto Zen has of Buddha consciousness and Buddhist enlightenment in Zen. There's the sudden enlightenment school, Rinzai Zen, but Soto Zen talks about us all having the Buddha nature, and it flowers gradually and opens within us. And that light at the center begins to radiate out through all the layers of our being, spirit, soul, mind, emotions, programming, thoughts, out through our bodies, transforming our relationships and all of our connections to the universe from the inside out. It's beautiful. So, thanks for being here. That makes you part of the solution. So join us also, if you would, in inviting the Divine Presence to pour through you the Flowering Heart Blessing to everyone who's in the satsang tonight, but also for all of those that will be viewing the recording, the video recording of this in the days ahead, because there are many times as many people from between Monday to Monday who are in different time zones, different circumstances in their lives. They watch it later tonight or tomorrow and in the next few days. And so we hold an intention that the blessing touches them right where they are, whatever time and place they're in, because it is a manifestation of spiritual presence from the divine. And in the divine presence, in spirit, there is no separation at all. And that means no distance geographically. Spirit is everywhere at the same time. And there's no separation in time, because in spirit, everything, past, present, future, is now, here and now. And that's the beauty of these spiritual blessings, I think, but also of so many of the recordings of great spiritual teachers that we have access to now, like all the teachings over the years that Ram Dass did, and Alan Watts, and other great spiritual teachers. There are just tons of recordings, and you can listen to it. I think Alan Watts is still on the radio every day. I don't know where to tell you to tune in, but you listen to him, and it's just as inspiring and graced as it was when we were listening to him 50 years ago. In fact, some of you are so young, you've probably never heard of him. But a great teacher in the subjects of Taoism and Zen and awakening. And so, these are great times in a way, and very challenging times in other ways. And before I forget, thank you for giving us a like or a love if you're on Facebook Live, a heart or a thumbs up, so we can go in at the end and see your name and know you were there. And if you're at Vimeo, leave a comment in the chat and tell us your name, because it warms our hearts, and we send you special hugs and blessings at the end. What else?
Question time?
Question time. So we open it to questions and answers on the spiritual journey. Could be about awakening, God realization, meditation, any kind of spiritual practice, life after death, anything related to the spiritual journey. And it catalyzes the divine, actually. It moves the divine to inspire us with light and clarity to share with you, and it helps all of us who come together in these satsangs. So don't hold back your questions. And the only two places currently where you could do that, you can email us anytime during the week, which is a great thing to do, because then we have time to meditate and contemplate the answer to your question. But if you're, and that's what you would have to do unless you're on Facebook Live or Vimeo, where you can actually just, we check the chat constantly. And so, how about 10 calming quotes for when your mind is racing? Stop me anytime. I get these quotes almost every week lately from inspiringquotes.com, and they've got some cool stuff. So here's one. To live life is to experience anxiety. Whether we're agonizing over that big promotion or worrying that we accidentally said something awkward at a dinner party, in those moments, your mind can be your worst enemy, descending into a series of what-ifs and worst-case scenarios that only make a situation more stressful. It's in those moments that practicing awareness and taking a deep breath can course correct your brain and put an end to that needless doom spiral. These 10 quotes offer encouragement for quieting the anxious mind. So take a deep breath and soak in the calming wisdom of famous writers, philosophers, and leaders. Here we go. So the first quote is from Thich Nhat Hanh, a great Zen master of modern times. And here's what he said. Feelings come and go like clouds in a windy sky. Conscious breathing is my anchor, said Thich Nhat Hanh. The next one. Your mind will answer most questions if you learn to relax and wait for the answers. William S. Burroughs. Everything we do is infused with the energy with which we do it. If we're frantic, life will be frantic. If we're peaceful, life will be peaceful. Marianne Williamson. You may not control all the events that happen to you, but you can decide not to be reduced by them. Maya Angelou. Life is really simple, but we insist on making it complicated. Confucius. Breathe. Let go. And remind yourself that this very moment is the only one you know you have for sure. So let me say that again. Breathe, let go, and remind yourself that this very moment is the only one you know you have for sure. Oprah Winfrey. You cannot perceive beauty but with a serene mind. Henry David Thoreau. The ideal of calm exists in a sitting cat. Jules Renard. George would love that. All our cat-loving friends. The nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength. Marcus Aurelius. Keep calm and carry on. The government of the United Kingdom. Yeah, well, you know.
You want to read it?
Sure, I'll read it.
Okay.
But John already knows I'm about to say something, probably. John says, Alan Watts may have done better if he'd gone to AA, not to take away from any of his beliefs. Actually, all of us might have done better without addiction and sin. Just saying. The fact that you're, well, we have a friend. He's often referred to as the American Buddha. And Stuart Mooney says that before you're awakened, you're I can't even quote it on the way he said it on the air. I don't want to. Before you're awakened, you're an unawakened jerk. I think he said a-hole, actually. He did, that's right. After enlightenment, you are an awakened a-hole. Awakening doesn't change human personality. It makes it possible to be dynamically transformed. But many of the enlightened teachers, I could go down the list and talk about how many of the great masters that many of us have been aware of for the last 50 plus years, how many of them were alcoholics, sex addicts, had other problems. They had a powerful realization of their true self, which was an open door to freedom, but still they were human. And I think it's important that we realize that our teachers, our spiritual leaders are human. Now, some of them are saints. Some of them live in such an exemplarily pure life. But there's a difference between a sage and a saint in this regard. You can be an enlightened sage and not be embodying the virtues that we expect a saint to embody. Conversely, you could be a saint and have such divine grace flowing through your life that you live an exemplarily pure life, filled with virtue and free from sin and not be enlightened. Which has been true of some of the great saints who had such a dualistic consciousness and way of seeing things, and light and dark. But that's a good point, John. And actually, the fact that you said that opened the door to a whole conversation.
I find it interesting too that the more I grow, the more I catch myself judging or criticizing others. And when I do notice myself doing it, it happened a couple times today, and I stop, and I know that that's coming from the ego, and then I look at what I am addressing with criticism or judgment, and I turn it inward and say, okay, where is it inside of me that I need to look at that issue? So good. And so that's what I've been really, my mantra has been lately is just paying deeper and deeper attention to when I'm having any kind of judgment or criticism, because it comes up all the time. The mind wants to be right, and the mind wants to be in control. But when we start getting into our hearts deeper and deeper, we have the capacity to closer self-examination, which makes room for more love, more personal love for ourselves, unconditional love for ourselves, and it kind of helps the ego to take a back seat, because the ego, even unconditionally loving the ego, that's really important. We were talking a little bit earlier about that the more we can not just say the ego's bad or just push it away or ignore it, we have to pay attention to what the ego is telling us, because that's part of our complex makeup as human beings. So to pay attention to what the ego is trying to do and love it unconditionally, but make a different decision from the heart, you'll start to find more inner love, inner peace, and unconditional love for the exterior world.
So true. There was another set of quotes, but it might be a little too long to get into unless nobody says anything at all tonight. No, John responded, yes, we are all human, but it is somewhat sad to know he didn't have to die still drinking. Yeah, he had other problems too, but we're not going to talk about Alan Watts' problems. We're going to look at ourselves. And believe me, some of the great spiritual teachers had bigger problems than Alan Watts' drinking problem, including Ram Dass, including Trungpa Rinpoche, including Muktananda, including, I could just sail down the list. But we're not here to talk about other people's faults. Here's something. This is a quote from Confucius that I was thinking of reading something. To understand Confucius is to understand the mind of the Chinese culture. don't like a lot of things that have come out of it. No fan of communism or, autocracy and things like that. But there's such ancient wisdom. And it actually can help us to understand and interact with this huge group of the human family if we know how they think. Here's a good quote. When the archer misses the center of the target, he turns round and seeks for the cause of his failure in himself. He can say, oh, it's the wind. Oh, the target was misplaced. You distracted me,
My bow is crooked. My arrow is crooked.
Confucius' ideas of reform were not met with universal approval in China. His attempts to return rulers to their traditional piety and frugality would have hampered their lavish lifestyles. Other dukes worried that the Duke of Lu would become too powerful with the philosopher by his side, advising him as governor. When Confucius disapproved of the way his lord was behaving, he went into self-exile from Lu. He did not blame others for his distress, but turned it into an opportunity for personal growth. He realized that by visiting other Chinese states, he would refine his teachings. Here's one other what Suzanne shared made me think of. When you meet someone better than yourself, turn your thoughts to becoming his equal. When you meet someone not as good as you are, look within and examine your own self. While in exile, Confucius was always on the move, yet he still found time to learn and to teach. He believed that a person was only truly themselves when they were with others. A sage sitting alone in the mountains may be wise, but can only be a teacher if they have students. Confucius believed that what is good for society is good for the individual, because each person we meet can have something to teach us. He had an amazing point of view, Confucius. He met Lao Tzu, the father of Taoism, the author of the Tao Te Ching, and what he had to say is, I have met a true living dragon. He loved Lao Tzu. And those two modes of thought, Confucianism, which focused a lot on filial piety, responsibility to family, to community, to relationships in the outer world, for them to be correct and virtuous, was his way. Lao Tzu's way was all about surrendering to the spontaneity of nature. And those two philosophies together formed the basis of Chinese thought. And then along came Buddhism, and that changed things again. So to get a sense of the three of those and the way that's affected thought. But Confucius was all about responsibility to others, to our relationships to humanity. And I like, a sage sitting alone in the mountains may be wise, but they can't be a teacher unless they have students. Yes.
But
You are, John. You are. John says, I am an angel. There are all different kinds of angels now, Humanity from the Judeo-Christian tradition, Scripture says in the beginning, Elohim created humanity. Elohim's the plural form of God. So a literal translation is, in the beginning, the gods created humanity in their own image and likeness. And Psalm 82, God calls all the children of God together and says, I said you are gods, and yet you let the earth be in darkness. I mean, people are being oppressed and abused. Find out who you are. Realize that you are the Elohim in human flesh, and rise up and set the world in order. That was Psalm 82. And then you fast forward to Jesus of Nazareth. He's teaching, and in his teaching he says, I am the Son of God. And some of the religious teachers pick up stones and they're ready to stone him to death. He says, wait a minute, for what sin, for what bad deed are you about to stone me? Your own law, your scriptures, which cannot be changed, say, I said, saith the Lord, you are all gods. And Christ said, and the scriptures cannot be broken. So if he said, you're gods, and I just say, I'm the Son of God, it doesn't seem right you would want to stone me. And anyway, he again reiterated that statement from Psalm 82 that says, you, human beings, are the Elohim. So, true, John's an angel, a work in progress, as we all are.
As we all are.
Any other questions?
It's time to dive deeper.
Okay. All right, Elohim. My brothers and sisters who are the offspring of the divine source itself, please close your eyes and open your heart and invoke the presence who dwells within you. This presence is pure, unconditional love. It loves you unconditionally, no matter what mistakes you may have made. The divine knows everything about you before we even realize it about ourselves, and knows what we're going to do before we ever do it, and still loves us unconditionally. All this business about judgment and fear toward God missed the point. We're not supposed to fear our heavenly parents. The word is reverence, to reverence in awe this all-powerful, all-wise, all-knowing source of pure light and love who yearns to set us free from our suffering, to awaken us to our true essence, which is one with the divine itself. Just yield, surrender, allow the divine to take you into its embrace tonight and draw you into the center. It's not something you do. Just let go and allow the divine to do within you and through you what it has always wanted to. The divine loves you so much. It doesn't want you to hurt or feel any distance or separation, because that's not the truth. That's an illusion. We are one with the source already. And it is pouring out to you oceans of grace to awaken your spirit, to illuminate your understanding, to flood your body with healing and your relationships and your entire relationship to the universe. Just receive the Flowering Heart blessing. Drink it in. Soak it in. Just let it go. Keep drinking in the presence. Visualize us all sitting in a circle together, a big blessing circle. With your eyes still closed, lift up your hands with your palms open, turn forward, and just invite the presence to pour the flowering heart blessing through you to all the others in the circle. Now visualize the planet Earth, the beautiful blue living planet, our home, our Earth Mother. Picture that blue planet in the center of our circle. And let us invite the divine. Take a strong intention. The blindness of separate existence, of hatred, out of the hearts of all 8 billion humans on that beautiful blue planet. Melt away the darkness and flood the hearts of all human beings with the light of life, the light of awakening. Love unconditional. Now, whenever you're ready, just relax your hands, let them rest in your lap, and open your eyes, and begin to make direct eye contact with Suzanne and or me as we dive into the light meditation. Open eyes. In this meditation, Suzanne and I are flooded with oceans of divine grace, and it flows through every pore of our being to you, especially through our eyes, the doorways of the soul. As you keep making direct eye contact with at least one of our eyes, the light streams in through your eyes, into your spiritual heart, causing the light of awakening and the fires of divine love to rise higher and higher and brighter within you. Nothing to do but just keep looking and listening. close your eyes now. Meditate with us for a few more minutes as the grace we've received settles. Now keep meditating as long as it feels good to you. And or lie down in Shavasana. Find a place nearby to lay on your back with your eyes closed. Your arms loosely at your sides with your palms open, turned upward. And there lying with your eyes closed and your palms open, just dissolve in gratitude in the presence. It's a wonderful thing. We love you very much.
Much love, light, and blessings.
Until we cross paths the next time, know that the divine presence within us beholds the divine within you, and we bow to you.